He woke up with a start, his body drenched in sweat, but his heart filled with an inexplicable peace. The trials of the dream were over, but their lessons remained deeply etched in his soul. As days turned into weeks, Elliot found that the fear which once overwhelmed his waking life began to fade. He approached his days with a new strength and clarity, grateful for the bizarre journey through his own subconscious. He knew he might never understand why the dream was so intense or why it came to him, but he was sure of one thing: he had faced his darkest fears, and he had emerged victorious. Life after the dream took on a new rhythm for Elliot. The vividness of his nightly adventures diminished, replaced by dreams of more mundane, everyday scenarios. Yet, the impact of his extraordinary dream continued to manifest in subtle, transformative ways. He began to integrate the lessons learned from his subconscious, realizing that the battle with his shadow self had fundamentally altered his perspective on reality. At work, where deadlines and projects had once been a source of crippling anxiety, Elliot now found a calm, methodical approach to his tasks. He realized that most of his workplace stress had been amplified by his own fears of failure, a fear he had confronted directly in the depths of his dream battles. This new approach did not go unnoticed. His colleagues remarked on his newfound poise, and his supervisor praised his improved performance and leadership. In his personal life, changes unfolded as well. Elliot reached out to old friends he had distanced himself from, fearing judgment and rejection. Reconnecting, he found not only acceptance but also a shared vulnerability that deepened these relationships. His family noticed a change too. Conversations once fraught with tension now flowed more easily, as Elliot learned to communicate his feelings more openly, a skill that had been honed through confronting his spectral adversaries. Just when Elliot thought he had mastered the art of living with his fears in harmony, a new challenge emerged. He started to notice anomalies in his waking world, small at first, items misplaced, clocks running backward, reflections slightly askew. These oddities grew increasingly bizarre, culminating in a day when the city around him flickered like a faulty film reel, shifting between reality and surreal, dream-like images. Panicked, Elliot wondered if he was losing his grip on reality. Was the dream encroaching upon his waking life, or was it revealing a deeper layer of consciousness he had yet to understand? Determined to seek answers, Elliot revisited the old, neglected library where he had often found solace in books. There, hidden among dusty tomes of psychology and mythology, he discovered an ancient, leather-bound volume titled The Mirror of Dreams. The book posited that dreams are not mere reflections of the subconscious but are windows to parallel dimensions where every possibility exists. Intrigued and slightly apprehensive, Elliot dove into the study of this text, drawing parallels between its theories and his experiences. He began experimenting with lucid dreaming, using it as a tool to explore these potential dimensions consciously. His experiments led him to a critical discovery: the anomalies in his waking life were not intrusions of the dream world but signposts pointing toward unresolved issues lingering in his subconscious. Each anomaly was tied to a fear or regret he had not fully confronted or understood. Armed with this knowledge, Elliot embarked on a new journey, one that took place in the liminal space between sleep and wakefulness. Here he learned to navigate his consciousness across different dimensions of reality, each representing different choices he could have made in his life, different paths he could have walked. This exploration was not without dangers. Each dimension held its own challenges, and Elliot quickly realized that some doors, once opened, are not easily closed. He encountered versions of himself that he neither recognized nor admired, versions that embodied his darkest impulses and deepest regrets. After months of nightly explorations, Elliot faced a decisive moment in his journey. In a dimension that mirrored his own reality, but in which he had made vastly different life choices, he came face to face with a version of himself that had surrendered to the darkness within, a version that had not faced his fears but had been overwhelmed by them. This confrontation was the hardest of all, for Elliot had to acknowledge not just the strength but also the potential destructiveness of his own nature. The battle was fierce, more emotional than physical, with Elliot striving not only to overcome this darker self but also to redeem it, to integrate its strength without succumbing to its despair. Victorious but profoundly humbled, Elliot returned to his own dimension, waking up with a deeper understanding of himself. He realized that while the dream world had opened the door to these discoveries, the real work lay in the waking world, in how he lived each day, how he made his choices, and how he related to others. Elliot's journey through his dream and beyond changed him in fundamental ways. He no longer saw life through the lens of fear, but as an opportunity to explore the myriad possibilities that each day offered. He understood now that every person is a complex mix of light and shadow, every reality a blend of truth and perception. He shared his experiences and insights through writing, becoming an author of a book that delved into the power of dreams and the human potential for transformation. His story inspired others to explore their own subconscious landscapes, to confront their fears, and to embrace their full potential. As he penned the final words of his book, Elliot looked out of his window at the world that once seemed so ordinary and saw it anew, filled with wonder, mystery, and infinite possibilities. For he knew that every ending was just another beginning, and every dream a doorway to a new dawn.